This is Wrevample IM, your gateway to original content, inspiring other developers to build from the ground up, only on Spotify.
Okay, well, to all those who know who I am, this is Mr. Ghost Bunch. Some of you may have met me before on the other platforms, TikTok and Clapper. And this is Wrevample IM. And this is a new podcast, first episode, and I'm having a really good time. I'm doing like so much more work than I mean, like one podcast is essentially 1 month's worth of, Clapper or TikTok videos. And I'm going to do so much harder work. And, it makes sense because they're manifested off one form of material. And so what I'm basically doing is just working on one thing like all month. And so why not just do that, consecutively, consistently, be a little bit more painstaking process, I think. And I'm going to really enjoy it. So I'm really happy about this podcast. So we're going to start grazing a couple of topics. We're just going to have a little talk real quick. I want to go over a few terms, a little bit of the language being used here. We're saying things like madness and suffering and disillusion. And I guess when you think about it, what those things mean, we're talking about like a end of the world kind of like theme here. Like in the end of the world, what is madness going to be? I suppose it's about some crazy ass guy who is like persecuting people. He's so mad because everybody is just like, wrong or something. I'm not quite sure, but he's mad. He hates everybody. He probably thinks everybody's just too fair. That's how I get. I'm just like, I don't like people who play the fair card, all the time. I know people who want to play the fair card, and I just can't stand it because I'm just like, I'm not a fair person. Like that's usually the first thing I tell people. It's like, I'm not a fair person, and I don't expect you to be. And I hate getting into a relationship where people expect you to be fair to them when you don't even expect them to be. Like any relationship I ever get into, I don't ever expect that person to be fair to me. I just want to have a good relationship with a good conversation and, try to figure out our differences. And it's like they want to be like my best fucking friend. They're like, hey, man, I'll come and see you every fucking day. And I'm just like, dude, you are a drug waster. You are a drug waster. All you do is waste drugs. Leave me alone. I'm not into that. So anyways, I'm just like, he doesn't even know what I'm into, but I'm glad he's dead. So anyway, so that was like Halloween too. My friend, I guess my best friend. I mean, he wanted to be my best friend. I don't know what to call him now. He had like all these books and they were writing. I feel kind of bad about it now. I couldn't read his writing. I had a friend who's kind of a little bit like me. He wasn't completely bad. In fact, I'm getting him cross-referenced with somebody else. So now my friend that I made up in my head is just completely figurative, and I'm talking about some friend and another friend who combine into one body. So I'm really confused here, getting friends mixed up in my head from the past. But I did have a friend who I kind of feel sorry for. I guess he's kind of like a zealot or something because, man, I guess if you don't know this, Merlin, he used to write like backwards, like in mirrors, like upside down when he wrote his manuscripts or his spells or whatever they were. And I had a friend who died on Halloween, and I guess I had a chance to take one of those books, and I was like, when he died, we didn't like end things on very good terms. It's kind of a long story, but he was kind of being fair. Now that I think about it, I don't want to get too much into the details. Actually, it was about fairness, and basically, I didn't give him a cigarette, and we got into a little brawl. I guess not a fist fight. He rammed his head into my like chest, and I fell on the ground. And I got up and I body slammed him, and then this older fella, he came over and he separated us, and then he died. Then he died on Halloween. Because I wouldn't give him a cigarette, and it's actually a little bit deeper than that. But I wish I had one of the books now, because now I know that it's Merlin writing. I was saying stupid, selfish things like, he doesn't even know how to write. I couldn't read anything he wrote. Is so, I wish I would have had his. But I'm just like, do you really want somebody's like evil curse book in your house or something? I'm not quite sure how that would have affected my life if I would have had his like little Merlin book in my house. But I don't think he's my real friend. He's in my head, so he's dead. And it's kind of funny because we have a little pun that talk about people like friends and enemies in your head, and why they shouldn't be there. And I know that's a hard thing to come to terms with, because a lot of us talk to ourselves, and it's kind of like we think it's funny and stuff, but it's really not that hard to figure out. But it's not a good place, and it's going to be a better one when we get older and cooler and stuff. So anyways, let's talk about these little terminological language words we have. So madness, we just talked about madness. Let's talk about like revelation, like suffering. We're going through a lot of suffering right now, but in the end, it's more about people who are, scared or something. I'm not, this suffering, it sounded like the right thing to write at the time, but to be honest, it reminds me of people who are like in torment. I'm trying to figure out like what kind of, kind of like positive, negative charge these people have who are suffering. Because in the script here, I have a lot of positively, negatively charged aspects. And I'm just thinking to myself, why are these people tormenting? It's probably because they deserve to be punished by God. But I don't know if people really believe or hold on to those kind of like fire and brimstone things anymore these days. So we're going to skip the suffering thing, because I'm not quite sure what that's all about. But there is one thing I want to talk about, and that's disillusion. That's kind of a new word to me, and I like new words right now, because I kind of ran out of words for a little bit. But disillusion, I guess like, what if like Revelation was more about people who believed in these things that weren't real? Because I can think of a lot of things in my head, and they all seem very real. And I get so frustrated with people who, I tell people I'm schizophrenic, and they tell me, well, that shit wasn't me. You didn't hear my voice in your head. That wasn't me. You're just hearing voices. That makes me so frustrated. And to think that in the end of times, people could be going through things that are similar to that effect, and they're like not even real. I don't ever want to believe something that's not real. That sounds like a terrible thing to go through. And anyway, so that's kind of the terminology I want to go over. And here's another little topic I want to talk about. I ended this little script over here. I got 2 scripts I'm working on. And it ends kind of like in a weird way. It says, in real life, the stakes are much higher. And what that correlates to, it is another part in the script. It says, when the mind is meddled with. And what that means to me is that, there are people who are in my brain. I'm talking about schizophrenia, really. And I'm trying to explain to people why they shouldn't be there. God darn it. Go damn it. So I just realized what this is talking about. Completely different story. I'm sorry. I just got my puns mixed up with my script here, but I'm going to keep going with it. So what this is really referring to, I think, is my aggression, my anger towards the Nihilists. Because to be honest, I feel like the Nihilists are just existentialists who think that they're better than the other people. And there's a lot of, people who believe in wisdom, and, all that stuff is falsehood. I cannot stand Facebook. You get on there and you see all this falsehood being preached. And the Nihilists are like my number one target. But to be honest, like they're my number one target. Like I have so much aggression towards them. And it's because I feel like they're the ones who are responsible for saying that nihilism was existentialist. Like there's such thing as existentialist nihilism. And I blame them. I don't know if they're responsible or not, but I blame them. I blame them for it. And they're my number one target. I would really, if there's a war in heaven, I definitely want to, like, get rid of the Nietzscheans for being existentialists in the first place. I'm not an existentialist. I don't sound like an existentialist. And I'm not the kind of person to tell people sorry for all the bullshit that my life has put me through. So anyway, I think what's going to happen, though, is when the war in heaven is over, I'll have to come to terms with these people, these Nietzschean people. And it's going to be more about negotiating and politics, and it's going to be hard. It's going to be so hard to get rid of the Nietzschean people. I realized that because in my head, I had these conversations with them. I don't even want to be talking to them. I'm just like, being an ambassador or something. I'm trying to be like an ambassador, and they're always wondering where all my people are and everything. And I realized that your real enemies in life, you're not gonna. If there is a war in heaven, it's probably just gonna be like a bunch of decimated people who are like burning in hell or something. And then after all that's over, then we can start, negotiating and trying to take out our deep hatred for the people who pissed us the fuck off in this world. But anyway, and those people will probably be dead. So hopefully you guys can relate to that. But anyway, so that's what we're talking about. I'm kind of confused about the chronological order here. So we're supposed to like do a little bit of talking. I guess I'm gonna try to play a little song for you. And we're gonna have like five songs on here. There's like 5 songs on each. I think actually there's about 4 songs plus the outro that I'm supposed to write. So yeah, so maybe I could turn that into a song. I don't know. 4 or 5 guitar songs, and we're gonna do some stuff. So stay tuned.
I know you didn't ask for this, but you have my permission. As it stands, I am no longer fit by mental standards. I have this demon that creates the most innocent excuses.
I myself don't even know what I am capable of. I find myself trying to bring other people down. I am nothing but a worm.
I know you didn't ask for this, but you have my permission. As it stands, I am no longer fit by mental standards. I have this demon that creates the most innocent excuses.
I myself don't even know what I am capable of. I find myself trying to bring other people down. I am nothing but a worm.
Okay, so I got a couple of brain bogglers for you. Just something to make you stop and say, whoa, what did he just say? So anyways, so a couple of these fellas, they're having a conversation, and this guy gets all paranoid, and he says, look, I have to take a break. I need to go smoke a cigarette. And so he comes back with this serious look on his face, and he says, I would be able to tell if someone was putting thoughts into my head. And the other guy's like, oh man, no way. How is that? And he says, believe it or not, some tiers of our consciousness don't even have much of a thought process. To them, those thoughts would be completely alien to them. And he says, hence the word consciousness. Okay. And this is the second part. So from one bygone to another. It is not good to have friends and enemies in a place like your head. And all that is a form of credit that you owe absolutely no one. Territorial humans are not an immediate threat because you are beginning to recognize the danger. To play politics, it's not about who's right or wrong. It's not about which side of the aisle you're on. It's about trying to make a difference. It is not about an outcome. The outcome does not pertain to the many. It is an incumbent few that overcome the impending threats, which casts a shadow that contends with our long-held beliefs. And everyone knows that the system doesn't work But the shadows remain, and they are keeping the powers in check. We are only interested in breeding disorder amidst the chaos. It is the solution that keeps things from becoming volatile at night. Eventually, our system will become lapsed with a revelation of madness, suffering, and disillusion. When we began our cult, we harbored such ideals as trust and loyalty, peace and dedication. We believed that kind of device was not meant to endure, but we were in fashion to endure it. So when we became afflicted by them, we only felt ashamed of others. Trust is an affliction of truth when you press your ideas onto others. Loyalty is an affliction at a young age when you are broken. Peace is an affliction as you conform to the wisdom of falsehood. Dedication is an affliction when you meddle with the mind of others. We cannot tell lies if we are certain with the people who hate us. The people who torment us had their time and place to become more abusive and treat us less like criminals. What happens after the war is over and you become filled with rage? In real life, the stakes are much higher.
You sure you want me to do this? If I reveal myself now, I'm not even sure I will be able to return.
There is already a way for you to return, as long as you can be on the confront with a preambled attack.
I don't think I can move fast enough. At the rate he is going, he will fall right through my gale force winds.
I want you to equip yourself with a neck clutch weapon. This will help your blow follow through.
So they wanted us to believe blindly, a faith that has nothing to do with where I've been. They lied to us about starting a new life. They don't see us on the streets at night. They don't see anyone for who they are or who they want to be. They want us to walk in the day, and it's only because they have an answer to our problems. They think they can stop us from becoming what we are going to be, and that is because they have been waiting for a critical moment so they can set up a default.
Maybe sometime we should fuck around, you know. I'll be in the back of my van glisten.
Oh hell yeah, I know how to pirate some CDs and some DVDs. We got nothing but the good stuff, man. Some Run DMC and Ice-T. We ain't got none of that dope up in here.
Man, you know just what I need. Who needs chronic when you can get hooked on phonics?
The distraction was the element he used to set his eye within the beholder, to see a glimpse of hell through another's perspective. There were angry phone calls and threats made. The diagnosis was residual schizophrenia with tactile hallucinations. But in the mind of the patient, the stakes were much, much higher. They told us we need to learn to compromise. But there is nothing we can do except kill the thought of them in our mind.
Did your daddy leave you anything special? I bet if he were here right now he would tell you to share.
My eyes just about bugged out of my head after he left my cell. The guards took away my collection of roots and pebbles from the yard. One of the rocks would spark and give off a burning rubber smell. Reminds me of being the one in charge too.
Thank you all for tuning in to Wrevample IM. The gateway has its remnants. I hear voices, nasty things, people getting themselves out. Good riddance.